Good evening, I'm Marie Cato, and you're watching Ukraine Brief. It has been 1,372 days since Russia began its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Here's the latest. We begin with another Russian attack on Ukraine. On Tuesday evening, Russian forces launched a drone strike on the city of Zaporizhzhia, injuring 19 people. A nighttime attack on the city of Zaporizhzhia caused widespread destruction, with fires triggered in several buildings, a gas station, and multiple cars across several districts. According to the regional administration, at least 19 people have been wounded. These are the first moments after the attack. At least 15 drone strikes hit the city, damaging 31 apartment buildings and 20 private houses. Residents described loud explosions and moments of terror as drones struck their neighborhoods.
There, my apartment on the 3rd floor is burning. You can get in there. I have 3 cats at home, not to mention all of my possessions, my whole life.
At daybreak, the destruction was revealed to the residents of these neighborhoods in Zaporizhzhia following the Russians' nighttime drone attack. In the Dnipropetrovsk region, Russian drones struck several districts, including continued attacks on the Nikopol area with FPV drones and artillery. A Russian attack in the Kherson region damaged houses and cars. According to authorities, no one was injured. Residents reported at least 3 strikes in the area, which damaged their houses and property. President Donald Trump reaffirmed his support for Special Envoy Steve Witkoff last night after a leaked phone call revealed Witkoff coaching his Russian counterparts on how to win over President Trump on a Russian-Ukraine peace deal. The transcript of a secret phone call from October 14th between Witkoff and Russian Special Envoy Yuri Ushakov was leaked to Bloomberg and released yesterday. During the call, Witkoff advised Ushakov to arrange a phone call between President Trump and President Putin, and went on to counsel Ushakov on how to win over President Trump by flattering him on successfully negotiating the October peace deal between Israel and Hamas. Ushakov agreed that Putin would congratulate Trump, at which point Witkoff went further and added that he believed Russia has always wanted a peace deal. When asked aboard Air Force One about the leaked phone call, Trump defended Witkoff, telling reporters that Witkoff had to sell the agreement to both Ukraine and Russia. He also announced that Witkoff would travel to Moscow next week to meet President Putin, potentially being joined by Jared Kushner, President Trump's son-in-law, and another of his envoys.
I haven't heard it, no, but that's a standard thing, because he's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia. That's what a deal maker does. And they're talking to Russia now. Steve Witkoff is going over, maybe with Jared. I'm not sure about Jared going, but he's involved in the process. Smart guy, and they're going to be meeting with President Putin, I believe, next week in Moscow.
Next week in Moscow?
I think so, yes.
Negotiations in Geneva between senior U.S. and Ukrainian officials over the peace agreement concluded earlier this week, with the original 28-point plan cut down to 19 points. U.S. officials signaled willingness to revise the more controversial provisions, including a proposal to cap Ukraine's military at 600,000 personnel. A delegation of senior American officials, led by U.S. Secretary of the Army Daniel Driscoll, traveled to Abu Dhabi on Monday to present the updated agreement to their Russian counterparts. Sweden wants the European Union to immediately move forward with a 20th sanctions package to hit Russian energy revenues even harder, as this remains Russia's main source of revenue to fund the war.
We also want the EU to move forward with the 20th sanctions package immediately to increase pressure on Russia. The 20th package of sanctions must hit Russian energy revenues even harder, as they are the main source of funding for the war. Just as the US has announced, the EU also needs to go after Russian oil giants like Rosneft and Lukoil. We also need to ensure that more of the EU sanctions listings of vessels in the Russian shadow fleet overlap with other partners like the US, Canada and the UK to reduce loopholes.
Evacuations from frontline villages and towns continue with the efforts of volunteers, rescuers and police units. Rescuers in Zaporizhzhia, together with police, evacuated 2 families with 9 children from the village of Yurkivka, just 10 kilometers from the front line. A mother of 6, with tears in her eyes, said, "It is very hard for me to say goodbye to our home, but the safety of the children comes first. Every day the explosions get closer, and we have to save ourselves." Evacuation. Anyone who wants to leave, please come. A female voice announced, calling on residents ready to leave the frontline town of Liman in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region, as Russian forces drew to within 10 kilometers. Most of them are elderly and have little to take with them, just a single bag of personal belongings, leaving behind the life they have built in this place. Police described each trip as a life-or-death mission, with Russian drones constantly patrolling the skies and targeting any vehicles. These 2 women and a man walked nearly 12 kilometers through shelling and heavy rain, carrying just a few bags tied to a bicycle, before being picked up by the White Angels. They said their house had been destroyed in the shelling. And that's all the news from Ukraine for now. Thank you for watching, and stay with us for more updates on TVP World and tvpworld.com. Goodbye.